Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today let's talk about weakness of Iman, symptoms and causes. Iman is the most important of all the affairs of Muslims. As-Salaf al-Salih, the right acting predecessors of Muslims. For example, the Sahaba and those who came after them were very concerned with their Iman and they cared for it. They knew the things that increase and strengthen Iman and those which decrease and weaken Iman. So they exerted their effort in doing those things which increase and strengthen Iman and avoided anything that decreases and weakens Iman. So every Muslim who is keen to save himself and gain happiness should do the same and care for his Iman more than anything else. Some of the symptoms of the weakness of Iman include frequent falling into wrong actions until sinning becomes a habit and a natural occurrence for one. Number 2, laziness in performing acts of worship. Not performing acts of worship properly, not performing salah on time without an excuse, delaying Hajj when one is financially capable, and not caring for missing the opportunity of the seasons of good, such as in Ramadan and so on. Number 3, not performing acts of worship properly, lack of khushu', humility, and lack of presence of the heart in salah. Number 4, easily becoming angry, annoyed, and unforgiving, as well as continuously complaining about other people's behavior. Number 5, greed and miserliness. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, greed and Iman never coexist in a person's heart. Number 6, to say that which you do not do. Continuous breach of promises is a sign of hypocrisy which contradicts Iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu lima taquluna ma la taf'alun. كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Oh, you who believe, why do you say that which you do not do? Grievously hateful is it in the sight of Allah that you say that which you do not do." Number 7, to be indifferent and unconcerned about the affairs of Muslims and not to respond to their need by dua, sadaqah, and so on. Number 8, to rejoice in other Muslims' misfortunes. For example, to become happy when a Muslim experiences some failure or loss. Number 9, fear and panic when a disaster befalls one or when some problem arises. These are some of the obvious symptoms of the weakness of Iman. It is important that we know them and try to remove their causes. To complete this subject, I will talk about the causes of the weakness of Iman. Some of the aforementioned symptoms of the weakness of Iman are at the same time causes of the weakness of Iman. For example, committing sins continuously is a symptom of the weakness of Iman and at the same time leads to further weakness of Iman. Similarly, laziness in performing acts of worship, not performing acts of worship properly, greed and miserliness, and saying that which you do not do are symptoms and causes of the weakness of Iman. Other factors which may cause the weakness of Iman include staying away from the environment which enhances Iman. An obvious example is a person who stays away from the mosque and does not attend Jummah or Jama'ah, or a person who keeps away from other Muslims who remind him about Allah. Such a person may keep away from such good environment because he thinks in keeping away there is less trouble. Such loneliness may lead to one's heart becoming hard. Usually the relapse and retreat, which happens to some people and makes them return to a life of corruption, starts when they withdraw themselves from the atmosphere of Iman. Presence in an environment which is full of sins. This also includes watching indecent films and TV programs at home. Such an environment weakens Iman and hardens the heart. This does not mean that Islam is against any form of entertainment. There is no harm in having some relaxation for the nafs, provided that the means of entertainment is halal and that one does not waste one's time. Number 3, being excessively busy with the life of this world. Spending tremendous effort and time in pursuing it at the expense of one's deen and Iman. This also includes being busy with one's property, wife, and children. One should not be busy with these things to an extent that one forgets one's duty towards Allah. There is no harm in loving these things moderately within the limits of the Sharia. Overeating, oversleeping, and being talkative. As for overeating, it causes numbness in the mind and heaviness in the body to perform acts of worship and gives added access to shaitan to the heart. As Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Shaitan yajri min ibn Adam majri ad-dam. Shaitan flows in the son of Adam like the blood flows, so tighten his channels with hunger. Being talkative will cause the hardness of the heart. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, do not indulge in long talk without remembering Allah, for much talks without remembrance of Allah hardens the heart.